Pokémon is a game about befriending creatures and creating a bond between Pokémon and trainers, slowly growing with your Pokémon as you go on your adventure. But that's lame. So I'm gonna speedrun to a level 100 Pokémon in Scarlet and Violet. I decided that the timer starts the moment you beat Arvin, as the beginning of this game is not the most interesting, but for my starter I picked Fuecoco. The moment I start the run, there's immediately an impasse as I can choose to go one of two directions. The first option is to climb the west hill and use the lock-on feature to break out of the beginning area to skip the school entirely. The second option is to go into the school and claim all the main story quests, but this loses you about 30 minutes. As tempting as the first option seems, if we don't go into the school we can't challenge any of the gyms, which would really lose us a lot of time later in the run. So unfortunately I had to go through the school. Once I finished obtaining all the quest lines, I immediately headed east towards the Rock Titan Cloth. Once you defeat your first Titan, you obtain the ability to boost, which saves you so much time, so the sooner you get it the better. On my way over, my goal was to find a Makuhita who was a high enough level to defeat Cloth as well as having Guts. Lucky for me, the first Makuhita I encountered was not only a high enough level to beat Cloth and Guts, I also burned it on my first Ember. Right before fighting Cloth, I took a slight detour to pick up a rare candy, which is just across the way, and these are obviously a godsend in this run because they give you a free level. Makuhita is easily the best option we have for fighting Cloth. While it's burned, its attack is practically 120, and you're not going to get anywhere close to that with any other Pokemon in this area. After using Force Palm until Cloth goes down, I immediately grinded to evolve my starter. With Crocalor, I can one-shot every Pokemon within the Artisan Gym. The reason I'm going for gym badges is because they unlock higher level Terra raid battles, which give you much more XP candy. Instead of immediately rushing for my second gym badge, I decided to collect as many XP candies as I could find in the bottom right area of the map, as well as unlock the Pokemon Center in Levincia. After that, I warped to the school and headed straight west towards the Cortanto Gym, which I swept effortlessly because I was just so overleveled. With the second gym badge in hand, I flew to Levincia and headed north to gain more XP on my starter, as well as battle the Steel Titan Earthworm. But right before getting there, I was met with a familiar face. Wait. No. 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 Not again. Moving on from my PTSD, I challenged Earthworm. With more strategic gameplay of clicking Incinerate until there was no longer a health bar on my screen, I collected the second Herba Mystica and went back to Levincia to challenge Iono's gym. And here's where I realized the first big mistake I made. When collecting candies earlier, I forgot to head far enough south to pick up the large candy that was right here, which means I had to go all the way back, which wasted about 3 minutes. I used all the candies I'd collected so far on my Crocalor and evolved it to a Skeledirge to just sweep through the gym. I made my way over to Medalli and swept Larry's gym, and then immediately headed over to Cascarafa, where I had to put a little more nuance on my strategy than just clicking Torch Song. Before you're allowed to challenge the gym, you have to run through the desert to go to the auction house in Porto Marinada. So on my way, I picked up as much Stardust as I could find in the desert. With that Stardust and the items I've picked up along the way, as well as the money he gives you to win the auction, I have just enough money to buy a Choice Scarf. With the Choice Scarf, I'm just barely faster than Kofu's entire team. Without having speed control, I still probably would have won, as 2 Aqua Cutters and a Water Pulse wouldn't have quite been enough to take down Skeledirge. Though Aqua Cutter had a raised chance of critical hits, meaning that if he had the opportunity to hit me twice there was a 23% chance he would have crit me at least once. And that would have done just enough damage for me to lose the fight. My current goal was to unlock 4-star raids so I could get XP as fast as possible. And so I climbed Glosado Mountain to get my 6th gym badge by defeating Grusha. I didn't do Tulip because despite her ace being 3 levels lower, I literally lost during the gym challenge before even being able to face her. Grusha, on the other hand, was weak to fire. Can you guess what I did? After what I thought was unlocking 4-star Terra raids, I started grinding them, and it took me an hour of getting literally 0 4-star Terra raids before I realized something might have been wrong. So I decided to go double check that the number of badges was in fact 6. Now if you look at the page, you'll notice for the 3 badges it says 3 gym badges, but for the 6th gym badges it says after 6 gym badges. Now the way I interpreted it is that I needed 6 gym badges and then it would give me 4-star raids, but what it meant was after I have more than 6 gym badges. Now if you think critically, you can easily say, well obviously that's why it's worded differently. But to that I say, why not make it say 7 badges, or make the other one say after 2 gym badges? It's so confusing for them to be formatted differently. Anyway, after realizing this, I decided to level up Skeledirge to be a high enough level to actually take down Tulip. But before challenging her, I had to decide what Pokemon I wanted to get to level 100. And the obvious answer is Skeledirge. But here's where we have to discuss experience growth rates. There's 8 kinds of XP growth rates and a lot of math behind how they work, but you really only need to know 2 things. That being one, that they determine how much XP is required for a Pokemon to get to level 100. This means from his current level of 50, he needs 942,500 more experience to become level 100. The second thing you need to know is that Pokemon in the erratic growth rate only require 600,000 XP before they go from level 1 to 100. Meaning if the highest level erratic growth rate Pokemon we can catch is level 1, it'd still be more beneficial to do so. Even luckier for this challenge, out of the 30 Pokemon with an erratic growth rate, one of them can spawn at level 56. That being Swablu. If I catch him at his highest spawn level, I'll only need to get him 435,079 XP. Less than half of what I need to get Skeleturge to level 100. I did get unlucky while trying to get one to spawn, so I kept doing a trick called picnic resetting. This is usually used for shiny hunting, but it is beneficial for me as I can keep resetting the spawns until I get a Swablu. And after just a few picnics...
Wait, there's no way.
After ignoring not one, not two, but 3 full odds shinies, 2 of which were only in the script because this happened, the universe decided to give me a shiny I couldn't refuse. Sure, it was 4 levels lower than its max level, and I'd lose a few minutes in the end, but how poetic is it that the one Pokemon I need to catch for this challenge ends up being shiny? After a quick stop to Alfornado to battle Tulip and Nemona, it was finally time to grind Terrorids properly until I had enough candy to complete the challenge. And after 6 hours and 45 minutes, I'd obtained a level 100 Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet. Also, I've decided to name him John. Everyone comment hi, John.